Have you ever wondered why some people reach their 70s, or even 80s, with remarkable vitality, while others begin facing serious health challenges much earlier? Many assume the answer lies entirely in genetics. But over the last 2 decades, researchers have repeatedly shown that everyday habits may influence long-term health far more than most people realize. What surprised me most while reviewing the latest research wasn't a miracle supplement or an expensive treatment. It was something much simpler. Many of the daily choices we make, from the foods we eat to the way we sleep, move, and manage stress, can affect the environment inside our bodies in meaningful ways. Today, we're going to explore 5 practical habits that researchers have linked with better long-term cellular health and a lower risk of several chronic conditions, including certain types of cancer. These aren't quick fixes or guarantees. They're realistic lifestyle practices that many adults over 50 can begin incorporating gradually. Before we begin, I'd love to know who's watching today. Leave your age in the comments, and if you're comfortable sharing, tell me which healthy habit has been the hardest for you to maintain. I read your comments, and they often inspire future videos. We'll count down from habit number 5 to the one that may have the broadest impact when combined with the others. Each habit builds on the previous one, so I encourage you to stay until the end. Let's begin. Habit number 5. Choose more whole foods and fewer highly processed ones. Many people think healthy eating is only about weight. In reality, nutrition influences much more than the number on a scale. Every day, your body replaces billions of cells. To do this efficiently, it needs a steady supply of vitamins, minerals, healthy fats, protein, and protective plant compounds. When the diet is dominated by highly processed foods, your body receives plenty of calories, but often fewer of the nutrients it depends on for normal repair and maintenance. Large population studies have found that diets rich in vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains, nuts, and healthy fats are associated with better overall health and a lower risk of several chronic diseases. While no single food can prevent cancer, consistently eating minimally processed foods appears to support healthier inflammatory and metabolic patterns. One woman I'll call Linda was 56 when she decided to change the way she ate. She wasn't trying to lose weight. Her motivation came after a close family member developed colon cancer. She realized that for years, her meals had been built around convenience: sugary cereal in the morning, packaged snacks during the day, processed meats for lunch, and takeout several evenings each week. Rather than changing everything overnight, she made one adjustment at a time. Breakfast became oatmeal topped with blueberries and walnuts. Instead of packaged crackers, she carried an apple and a handful of almonds. Processed lunch meats were gradually replaced with grilled chicken, beans, or homemade soups. Within several months, she noticed something she hadn't expected. Her energy stayed more consistent throughout the day. She felt satisfied longer after meals. Her routine became easier to maintain because the changes were small enough to become habits, rather than temporary rules. That's one of the biggest lessons many people overlook. You don't have to eat perfectly. You don't need to eliminate every favorite food. Consistency matters far more than perfection. If you're wondering where to begin, try asking yourself one simple question before each meal. What is one whole food I can add to this plate? Sometimes it's spinach. Sometimes it's berries. Sometimes it's beans, tomatoes, carrots, or a handful of nuts. Small improvements repeated every day often become meaningful over the course of years. Another benefit of eating more whole foods is that they naturally provide fiber. Fiber supports digestive health, helps regulate blood sugar, feeds beneficial gut bacteria, and may contribute to healthier cholesterol levels. Yet many adults consume far less fiber than recommended. Simple additions, such as lentils, vegetables, oats, pears, apples, and chia seeds, can gradually increase fiber intake without making meals complicated. The goal isn't restriction. The goal is nourishment. Because when your body consistently receives what it needs, many of its natural maintenance systems are able to function more effectively. And that brings us to something many people underestimate. Even the healthiest diet cannot fully compensate for poor sleep. In the next section, we'll talk about why your nights may be just as important as your days when it comes to supporting healthy aging after 50. Now let's move on to habit number 4. Habit number 4. sleep and the body's overnight repair systems. If someone asked you what sleep is for, you might say it's about restoring energy or feeling refreshed the next morning. Those are certainly important benefits, but sleep is doing much more than helping you feel awake. Every night, while you're resting, your body begins one of the most remarkable maintenance processes it performs all day. Your brain organizes memories, hormones are balanced, damaged proteins are removed, muscles recover. Your immune system adjusts and communicates through a complex network of chemical signals. This is one reason researchers continue to emphasize that sleep is not passive. It's an active period of repair. Unfortunately, sleep often changes as we get older. Many adults over 50 notice that they wake up earlier, fall asleep more slowly, or wake several times during the night. Some assume this is simply something they have to accept. While certain changes are common with aging, poor sleep should never be dismissed as unimportant. Research has linked chronic sleep deprivation with higher levels of inflammation, poorer blood sugar control, reduced immune function, and increased risk for several long-term health conditions. The encouraging news is that even modest improvements in sleep quality may produce meaningful benefits. Let me tell you about someone I'll call James. James was 61 years old and had always considered himself one of those people who didn't need much sleep. For years he stayed up watching television until midnight, often checking his phone in bed. Every morning he woke at different times, depending on his schedule. He wasn't exhausted, at least that's what he believed. But throughout the day, he depended on several cups of coffee, felt mentally sluggish in the afternoon, and found himself becoming more forgetful. Instead of focusing on sleeping longer, he decided to make his routine more consistent. He chose one wake-up time and stuck with it every day, including weekends. He stopped looking at bright screens during the last hour before bed. He dimmed the lights in his home each evening. He kept his bedroom cooler and quieter. Within several weeks, something unexpected happened. He wasn't simply sleeping longer, he was sleeping better. He woke up feeling clearer. His afternoon fatigue became much less noticeable. His wife even commented that he seemed calmer and more patient during the day. Sometimes, the biggest improvement doesn't come from adding another supplement. Sometimes, it comes from giving your body the routine it has been asking for all along. One habit that sleep researchers often recommend is creating what they call a consistent sleep schedule. Your internal body clock responds remarkably well to regularity. Going to bed and waking up at approximately the same time each day helps reinforce that natural rhythm. Many people focus only on bedtime, but surprisingly, maintaining a consistent wake-up time may be even more important. Morning sunlight also plays a powerful role. Stepping outside for 10 or 15 minutes shortly after waking helps signal to your brain that the day has begun. That simple exposure to natural light can make it easier to feel sleepy at night. Another common mistake is eating large meals shortly before going to bed. Digestion requires energy. Finishing dinner a few hours before sleep may help many people feel more comfortable during the night. Caffeine deserves attention as well. Some individuals can drink coffee after dinner without noticing any problems. Others remain sensitive to caffeine for many hours. If you're struggling with sleep, consider limiting coffee, strong tea, or energy drinks later in the afternoon and see whether it makes a difference. Creating a peaceful evening routine doesn't have to be complicated. Reading a book, listening to relaxing music, gentle stretching, deep breathing, quiet conversation with a loved one. These simple habits help send a clear message to your brain that it's time to transition from activity into recovery. And remember, improvement doesn't happen overnight. Many people expect one good night's sleep to solve everything. Healthy sleep is built gradually, just like healthy eating. Small, consistent routines repeated every day often produce the greatest long-term results. As valuable as good sleep is, there's another habit that affects nearly every system in your body. It doesn't require expensive equipment. It doesn't require joining a gym. In fact, many people can begin today simply by opening their front door. In the next section, we'll talk about why regular daily movement may be one of the most underestimated investments you can make in your health after the age of 50. Habit number 3, daily movement. Now we've reached habit number 3. When many people hear the word exercise, they immediately picture long workouts, heavy weights, or running several miles. If that image discourages you, here's some good news. That's not what we're talking about. One of the strongest messages from modern research is that your body benefits from regular movement, not necessarily intense exercise. Your muscles are designed to move throughout the day. When they do, they help regulate blood sugar, improve circulation, support healthy blood pressure, strengthen bones, maintain balance, and even release natural compounds that communicate with other organs throughout the body. Scientists now know that active muscles produce substances called myokines. These molecules help reduce chronic inflammation, support immune function, and improve communication between muscles, the brain, and other tissues. This means every walk you take is doing far more than burning calories. It's sending positive signals throughout your body. One gentleman I'll call Daniel was 68 years old. After retiring, he gradually became less active without realizing it. His mornings were spent reading the news. His afternoons were often in front of the television. He wasn't lazy, he simply had fewer reasons to move than he did during his working years. During a routine health check, his doctor encouraged him to become more active. Instead of joining a gym, Daniel chose a much simpler plan. Every morning after breakfast, he walked around his neighborhood for 25 minutes. After lunch, he stood and stretched for a few minutes. Whenever he watched television in the evening, he stood up during every commercial break and walked around the room. None of these activities felt difficult, but after several months, he noticed meaningful changes. Walking uphill became easier, his legs felt stronger, his balance improved, his energy lasted longer throughout the day. Perhaps most importantly, movement became part of his identity rather than another task on his to-do list. That's the real secret. The best exercise isn't necessarily the hardest. It's the one you'll continue doing month after month. Walking remains one of the most accessible forms of physical activity for adults over 50. It requires no membership, no complicated equipment, and you can adjust the pace to match your own fitness level. If 20 minutes feels too difficult today, begin with 5. If 5 feels challenging, begin with 2. The goal is not to impress anyone. The goal is simply to move more than yesterday. Another helpful strategy is reducing long periods of sitting. Many experts recommend standing up at least once every hour. Walk to the kitchen, stretch your shoulders, look out the window, take a few deep breaths while moving around the house. These brief interruptions may seem insignificant, but over the course of an entire year, they add up to hundreds of extra opportunities for your body to stay active. Strength training also deserves attention. As we age, we naturally lose muscle mass unless we actively maintain it. Even 2 or 3 short strength sessions each week can help preserve muscle, support healthy bones, improve balance, and make everyday activities easier. You don't necessarily need heavy weights. Resistance bands, bodyweight exercises, light dumbbells, even standing up from a sturdy chair several times in a row can become an effective strengthening exercise when performed safely. Balance exercises are equally important. Something as simple as standing on one foot while holding onto a countertop or practicing heel-to-toe walking may help improve stability over time. These activities reduce the risk of falls and help maintain independence. And don't overlook flexibility. Gentle stretching keeps joints moving comfortably and may reduce stiffness, especially first thing in the morning. Here's something interesting. Movement also benefits the brain. Research suggests that regular physical activity supports memory, concentration, and mood by increasing blood flow and encouraging the release of substances that help brain cells stay healthy. Many people notice they think more clearly after taking a walk. That's not just their imagination. Your brain enjoys movement almost as much as your muscles do. The wonderful thing about this habit is that every bit counts. 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, a short walk after dinner, a few flights of stairs, playing with grandchildren, gardening, dancing in your living room. It all contributes to a healthier lifestyle. Now imagine combining this daily movement with the healthier eating habits we discussed earlier and the improved sleep routine from the previous section. Each habit strengthens the others. Better sleep gives you more energy to move. Regular movement helps you sleep more deeply. Nutritious food provides the fuel your muscles need to stay active. Together, they create a cycle that supports healthier aging. But there's another factor that quietly influences nearly every system in your body. Unlike diet or exercise, it's often invisible. You may not notice it until it has been affecting you for years. Let's talk about stress, and why learning to manage it may be one of the most valuable habits you can develop after 50. Habit number 2, managing stress for better long-term health. Now we've arrived at habit number 2. Stress is something every one of us experiences. In small amounts, it's a normal part of life. It helps us react quickly, solve problems, and adapt to challenges. The difficulty begins when stress never truly ends. Many adults over 50 carry responsibilities that younger people often don't see. Caring for aging parents, supporting adult children, adjusting to retirement, managing finances, living with chronic pain, coping with loneliness after losing a spouse or close friends. Even positive life changes can become sources of stress. Your body doesn't always distinguish between emotional stress and physical stress. It simply responds. When stressful situations continue for weeks or months, stress hormones remain elevated longer than they were designed to. Over time, this may affect sleep quality, blood pressure, blood sugar regulation, digestion, immune function, and even memory. This doesn't mean stress automatically causes serious illness, but it does remind us that emotional health and physical health are closely connected. Let me introduce you to someone I'll call Patricia. Patricia was 67 years old. She had recently retired after working for more than 40 years. Friends assumed retirement would be relaxing. Instead, she found herself worrying more than ever. Without a daily schedule, her mind filled every quiet moment with concerns about the future. She slept poorly. She rarely left the house. Even simple decisions began to feel overwhelming. One afternoon, her daughter encouraged her to join a neighborhood walking group. Patricia wasn't interested at first, but eventually she agreed. What surprised her wasn't the exercise. It was the conversation. Every week she spent time with people who understood many of the same life experiences. They laughed together, shared stories, encouraged one another. Slowly, her outlook began to change. She still faced challenges, but she no longer carried them alone. That reminds us of something important. Managing stress isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about giving your mind opportunities to recover. One of the simplest tools available is slow, controlled breathing. When you breathe slowly through your nose and make each exhale longer than each inhale, you activate part of your nervous system responsible for rest and recovery. You don't need special equipment. You don't need years of practice. Even 5 to 10 minutes each day may help many people feel calmer. Another valuable habit is spending time outdoors. Nature has a remarkable ability to quiet mental noise. Whether it's a local park, a garden, a quiet beach, or simply sitting beneath a tree, spending time outside often helps people feel more grounded. Research has associated regular exposure to green spaces with lower stress levels and improved emotional well-being. Gratitude is another practice worth mentioning. Some people dismiss it because it sounds too simple, but taking a few minutes each evening to write down 3 good things that happened during the day can gradually shift your attention away from constant worry. It doesn't erase problems, it simply reminds your brain that difficulties are not the entire story. Maintaining strong social connections is equally important. Human beings are designed for connection. A phone call, coffee with a friend, dinner with family, volunteering, joining a community group. These moments may seem ordinary, yet they often provide emotional support that no medication can replace. Laughter matters too. Have you noticed how much lighter you feel after genuinely laughing? Watching a favorite comedy, playing with grandchildren, sharing old memories. These experiences reduce tension while strengthening relationships. Many people underestimate how healing joy can be. It's also important to recognize when stress becomes overwhelming. If anxiety, sadness, or constant worry begin interfering with your daily life, speaking with a healthcare professional or mental health specialist is a sign of strength, not weakness. Asking for support is one of the healthiest decisions anyone can make. Here's another simple question to consider. How much of your daily stress comes from things you can actually control? Often we spend enormous amounts of energy worrying about events that haven't happened yet. Instead, focus on today's choices. Preparing a healthy meal, taking a walk, calling a friend, getting to bed on time. These actions may seem small, but they return your attention to the present moment, where positive change is actually possible. By now we've covered healthier eating, better sleep, regular movement, and managing stress. Each habit supports the others. People who sleep better often feel more motivated to exercise. Exercise improves mood. Better mood makes healthier eating easier. Healthy eating supports better sleep. Everything is connected. But there is one final habit that quietly strengthens all the others. It's simple, it costs nothing, and surprisingly many people overlook it completely. In the final section, we'll talk about the daily routine that may help bring all these healthy habits together into one sustainable lifestyle. Now we've reached habit number 1. You may be expecting something complicated, an expensive supplement, a strict diet, or a challenging fitness routine. Instead, the habit that brings everything together is surprisingly simple. Create a daily routine you can actually maintain. That may not sound exciting, but consistency is one of the most powerful tools available for healthy aging. Many people spend years searching for the perfect plan, the perfect diet, the perfect exercise program, the perfect supplement. But perfect plans often fail because they're impossible to maintain. Simple routines succeed because they become part of everyday life. Think about the habits we've discussed today: eating more whole foods, getting enough quality sleep, moving your body every day, managing stress in healthy ways. None of these habits produce dramatic changes overnight, but together, they create an environment that allows your body to function at its best. One man I'll call Thomas was 62 when he decided it was time to take better care of himself. He didn't begin with a complete lifestyle makeover. Instead, he wrote down 4 small promises. Walk every morning, eat vegetables with lunch and dinner, turn off screens 1 hour before bed, call one friend or family member each week. That was all. Nothing complicated, nothing expensive. At first the progress felt slow. Some weeks went perfectly, other weeks didn't. But instead of giving up, he simply started again. After 1 year, those 4 small promises no longer felt like effort. They had become part of his normal life. He wasn't chasing motivation anymore. He had built routines, and routines require far less willpower than constant decision-making. That's an important lesson. Motivation comes and goes, habits remain. Many researchers who study behavior change have reached a similar conclusion. The people most likely to maintain healthy lifestyles aren't necessarily the most disciplined. They're the people who make healthy choices easier. They prepare healthy foods before they're hungry. They keep walking shoes near the front door. They schedule bedtime instead of hoping they'll get tired. They build environments that support success. Here's another strategy you might find helpful. Rather than focusing on avoiding unhealthy habits, focus on adding healthy ones. Instead of saying, "I have to stop eating snacks," try saying, "I'm going to include more fruit this week." Instead of, "I need to exercise every day," say, "I'm going to take a 10-minute walk after dinner." Small positive goals often feel more achievable, and success builds confidence. Confidence encourages consistency. Consistency creates lasting change. Another powerful habit is scheduling regular medical checkups. Healthy living doesn't replace professional healthcare. Routine screenings and conversations with your healthcare provider remain an important part of staying healthy as we age. Preventive care helps identify concerns early and provides an opportunity to discuss changes that may benefit your individual situation. No video can replace personalized medical advice. Your health history, medications, and personal risk factors are unique. That's why working together with qualified healthcare professionals remains essential. As we bring today's conversation to a close, I'd like you to remember one important idea. Your future health is not determined by one meal, one workout, or one difficult day. It's influenced by the choices you repeat over months and years. Every healthy breakfast, every evening walk, every good night's sleep, every moment you choose to care for yourself. Those choices accumulate. You don't have to become a different person tomorrow. You simply need to take one small step today, then repeat it tomorrow. Healthy aging isn't about perfection. It's about giving your body the support it deserves. If you've stayed with me until this point, I'd like to ask you one question. Which of these 5 habits feels easiest for you to begin this week? Will you focus on improving your meals? Getting better sleep? Moving more each day? Managing stress? Or simply creating a consistent routine that helps all of these habits become part of your life? Share your answer in the comments. I truly enjoy reading your experiences, and your story may encourage someone else who is just beginning their own journey. If you found today's video helpful, consider subscribing so you don't miss future videos about healthy aging, nutrition, mobility, brain health, and practical ways to stay active after 50. And if you know someone who might benefit from this information, share this video with them. Sometimes, one conversation can inspire a healthier choice, and one healthier choice can lead to many more. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Take good care of yourself, stay curious, and remember that it's never too late to invest in your health, one small habit at a time.